Como looked to stake their claim as the new big boy in Serie A, and Bayern tried to bounce back after their first defeat in the Bundesliga in nearly a year.
In Spain, we have a souped-up Basque derby, soon I'm sure to be brought to you by the new Ford F-150. And in England, the hate watch continues. All this and more on this episode 111 of the No Business Soccer Podcast. News, kick us off.
Let's dig in. And that, you got me with that. The soon to be F-150. Oh, it is great to be back. Look, the jokes are already flowing in. Welcome to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze, and we're here with almost a full team. We got Danny P on the ones and twos. Brainiac J-Fam, he never even gave us a reason why he didn't. He just said, I can't make it. Okay. I mean, last time it was like a dinner party or something. Now he didn't even say that. Okay.
Nah, I'm counting that as a no call, no show. Now that he didn't give us it's a no call,
exactly.
No show.
It's put a strike on the record for him. But everybody's here to see one man and one man only, and that is my boy, Hype Man Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
Well, I've been getting nothing but stewed cherries lately, so I changed it up, and I went with the Jack Daniel's Barrel Strength single barrel rye, and it's actually an oak liquor cabinet pick. If you're from Austin, you know oak liquor cabinet. Snooze, obviously, you know what it is.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, obviously, I know.
This one, I get more banana bread and just like a heavy banana bread. Of course, this one has like, what is this? This is like a 66% alcohol, 132 proof. And yeah, it is absolutely delicious, scrumptious. And while I take a sip of this very, very heavily intoxicating drink, go ahead and like and subscribe. It's the best way to tell YouTube, Spotify, anyone that, hey, maybe these guys are pretty cool to listen to and hang out with every once in a while. And it's the best way to help out the channel. So cheers, everyone. Ooh, that was a good one.
Solid clank, banana bread going down the hatch. You got to love it. Hey, got some clap. Scared him. He's like, oh, shit. Almost choked on it. Pause. But anyway, so we have a full slate of games to cover for this weekend. This is, of course, your weekend look ahead. We have Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, and the Prem. Of course, though, before we get started, we do have to talk about the final match days in the UEFA competitions. I didn't prep that with our producer, so we'll see if we can hit that drop whenever he gets a second. So let's do it. Let's go to the UEFA competitions. My boy's on point today. Let's go. So we'll start first with the competitions that took place today, which for you would be yesterday. Thursday, as we're recording this, the final match day of Europa League, match day 8. And we had a couple of bangers in this one. We cover that. We're going to go over the teams that we cover. And then, of course, in the Champions League, we'll talk about them all. But we had Stuttgart taking on Young Boys. No more jokes there. They actually got the win 3-2. We also had Celta Vigo getting the 1-1 draw with Crvena Zvezda, or as I think they're Red Star Belgrade. So, you know, it is what it is, whatever you want to call them. The surprise team of Europa League, we'll talk about the table here in a moment, but Midtjylland, they beat Dinamo Zagreb 2-0. And no, we don't cover those teams, but it's just interesting. We see these teams up here, and that's what the Europa League is about, you know, get a little bit of flavor in there. One of the teams we do cover is Nottingham Forest. They beat Ferencváros 4-0. Real Betis 2-1 over Feyenoord. We also had Bologna getting back on track with a 3-0 over Maccabi Tel Aviv. Freiburg going a man down and losing 1-0 to Lille. Aston Villa taking the sword. That's not the word. Putting Salzburg to the sword, 3-2. Roma and Panathinaikos, they end 1-1. And then let's see, anyone else in here? No, I mean, of course, we have Basel, who I'm partial to because I got to go see them, but they lost to Victoria Pilsen, which is another city we went to in another adventure. Didn't get to go to the stadium, though, so maybe one day.
That really was close. You know that?
What do you mean?
We were like really close because we went to that one cafe, or I don't know where it was. We went and had a beer and some pork. It was like 2 blocks away. Yeah, it's like 2 blocks
seriously?
away. Yeah, their stadium. I actually looked it up because
okay.
I was talking to my friend today, the Man U fan. He was talking about Europa League, and he's talked about Victoria Pilsen. I was like, hey, I've been there. And then I started looking up the stadium. I was like, oh, this is where we ate. Like,
we were right
literally
there.
just like 2 or 3 blocks away.
Hey,
yeah.
we should have told our tour guide or driver. He's more of a driver. He wasn't really a tour guide. It was kind of both. Anyway, yeah, that would have been cool to go to that. You know, we got some good food and good beer though. Oh, okay. I was waiting for it. I was just start talking, but I was waiting for the pop. Okay, so the final table. We're not going to go through the whole thing because you know it is that there's 36 teams in all of the tournaments now. It takes too long to go through everybody. We'll just talk about the top 8 and then the surprise team. So the top 8 in the Europa League ends up with Lyon 1, Aston Villa 2, Midtjylland 3, which is why I was bringing them up. That is insane. Real Betis 4, Porto in 5th spot, Braga in 6th, Freiburg in 7th, and Roma is the final team in the automatic through to the round of 16s, which is pretty cool. I mean, you look at the top spots, it's some of the bigger teams. But then, of course, you see Braga, Midtjylland, Lyon, which has had their own financial and crazy problems. They were relegated last year. And look at them back at the top of the Europa League. Some of the surprise teams in the round of 16, though, we see, of course, Bologna, Stuttgart, Nottingham Forest. You'd expect that, Celta Vigo. But then also seeing some of the teams like PAOK and Ludogorets, Brann, those teams that you don't see them necessarily making it to the knockout rounds of these tournaments. But with the new format, there's just a lot more spaces. There's not really a team that surprised me that got knocked out here. I guess Basel, but I'm not sure that they're the team that maybe they are in their domestic league. They're not the same whenever it comes to the European nights. Your Go Ahead Eagles didn't make it as well, Vic. So just have you know that. Yeah, I mean, that's just sad. And their coach, who got poached, he went to Wolfsburg and then he got fired. So just not a good year after. They had such a good year last year, and now it's just not happening for them. So that was your Matchday 8 recap for Europa League. Now let's turn our attention to the Champions League, the main league, the league that determines who's the best in the world. Well, I guess the World Cup, the Club World Cup might determine that. Chelsea would argue. No. Okay. Nah. All right. Let's go. Champions League. So the last Matchday 8, there was a lot of different things at stake, mostly just posturing for positioning, I guess, whatever you want to call it. A lot of the teams that were in there, they knew where they were going to end up, whether it was in the top 8 or at least in the playoff round was kind of what was up for grabs. There were some surprise teams, and we'll talk about the table here in a moment. But the scores, we had Athletic Club falling to Sporting. Why did I put it like that? Sporting, I don't think they're Sporting Lisbon, Sporting Club de Portugal. But either way, they lose, Athletic Club lose 3-2. And then we had a team called Liverpool, who's been horrible in their domestic league. They go ahead and put a 6-0 walloping on Karabakh. Vic, how'd you feel about that?
I honestly did not care. I actually didn't watch. I just stayed on goal.
Yeah. And, you're like, all right, fine.
Every once in a while, but Golasso was amazing too.
Right, that was
in this. Yes, it was so much.
I was just going to say that. Let's talk about that. Let's recap this, and then before we go into the table, we'll talk about the experience of watching it all. Barcelona 4-1 over Copenhagen. Juve and Monaco 0-0. Ajax and Olympiacos 2-1 for Olympiacos there. Newcastle and PSG ends 1-1. Inter beats Dortmund 2-0. Napoli falls to Chelsea at the Maradona 3-2. Eintracht Frankfurt fall to Tottenham Hotspur 2-0. Bodo Glimt goes to Madrid and beats Atletico Madrid 2-1. This is a crazy, crazy run that they are on. Leverkusen takes care of Villarreal, which everybody's taking care of Villarreal right now, 3-0. Arsenal, Kairat ends 3-2 to Arsenal. Pafos beats our Slavia Praha 4-1 and has every goal was just fucking amazing. Manchester City beats Galatasaray 2-0. Club Brugge beats Marseille 3-0. Benfica beats Real Madrid 4-2. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Union Saint-Gilloise beats Atalanta 1-0. And then Bayern beat PSV 2-1. Okay, Vic, so let's talk about it. The experience of watching all 18 matches at once. How did you enjoy that?
Dude, it was awesome. I was actually a little pissed because the day before, on Tuesday, I had a doctor's appointment. I took the days off. I took the day off. And so Wednesday, I went back to work. I should have made my appointment for Wednesday. I would have spent all day on the couch just watching all of this and enjoying it. Said I was at work. I was at work trying to just like peek in every now and then and look at Golasso, but it was absolutely amazing to watch, even at work. Luckily, I try to get done pretty early, so I was watching it and just talking to the other boys there that like to watch soccer. And then, oh my god, it was just so much fun. The ending of the match,
a lot of entertainment.
Ending of the match day was awesome. And I don't know if you want to get into that, the whole Benfica thing. I don't
of course, let's talk about it. Yeah,
so they didn't deserve it. I don't think they deserved it,
so.
man.
You didn't think so. So let's break it down for everyone. So the final match that was being shown, and I think maybe it was because there was a delay. Actually, if I remember correctly, there was a delay. A lot of first half stoppage time that ended up delaying the second half start, something of that nature. But either way, we told you a second ago, it was a 4-2 win for Benfica in Lisbon over Real Madrid. And Real Madrid had a couple players sent off by the end of it. But going into the final, I don't know, couple of minutes, there was a back and forth, and I can't remember the game, but essentially it was Benfica were going to be in because of the goal differential. And then that there's a goal in this game over here, which caused Benfica to be knocked out, and they didn't know it. Like there was no urgency. Jose Mourinho, he was actually subbing off his attacking players and putting on defenders to just protect the lead. And then whenever finally you can tell that the fans, obviously they have the cell service and everything going on, they can focus on what's going on around Europe more than they can down on the pitch. Sorry. So they start yelling at people at the Benfica side, like, hey, come on, throw the ball. Let's get it out, because they knew that they were about to go out. And I think it was like the 89th minute, Vic, wasn't it? Or the 90 something? Like
it was 90 something. Like was it not the last touch of the game? I feel like
the goal was, okay. Yes, but I just mean like when they finally realized it. No, I don't
know. So it was I think it was Club Bruges who was playing Marseille, because it was Marseille who they knocked out. And Club Bruges scored in the 80th minute, I think, like something like that, late in the game. And that's where like, oh, like they can make it. Holy shit, all they need is one more goal. And they were not playing like it. It was pretty crazy. But they scored late.
They Club didn't know. They had no idea that they were about to be either knocked out or could make it into the next round. And then finally the news gets down to Jose Mourinho. He gets everybody up, and then Vic, the magic happens, right?
Dude, I'm just sitting there. You see, and plus, not only that, they were down by two men, right? Who did they play? Yeah,
Real Madrid got sent off. A couple people sent off. They were already through. They weren't really trying at that point. But it meant a lot more to the home fans in Benfica, and so take nothing from them, right?
Yeah, nothing. And so they had a late kick, and then they called the goalie up. Mourinho calls the goalie up. He wasn't even going to go up, but he was like, "No, get in there." And that gives him 3 more people in the box.
Yeah, I have no idea. It looked like no one was covered. That's what it looked like.
And he hit that last header straight to the goal. A good homage to Alisson Becker. That's what I'm talking about right there. That homage to Alisson Becker. And it was absolutely painful. I could not contain myself. It was like, oh my god, no way. I was texting you guys. Oh my god, yeah, dude, that was so crazy.
It's something that you hear about all the time, but you don't see often. And so that was really cool. Yeah, they go up there with literally one of the last kicks of the game. Is a free kick, header goes in. They win. They get into the knockout rounds, and it was scenes. It was crazy. I don't know if you saw it, but there was an interview going on in Portugal. Maybe it was in Lisbon, but there was I want to say it was a pope or something like of that nature. He was being interviewed, and he was on TV, talking to the cameras. And then you just hear people just exploding, just like cheering and going crazy. And it's like a gunshot went off. He kind of freaks out, like, what was that? And then they start talking. He's like, oh, okay, Benfica scored, and they're going through it's a big deal. I have to share that with y'all whenever I can.
Yeah, we gotta find that. Yeah, we got.
It was so funny. It's so cool. I mean, you don't get those often. And Danny P and I, another stadium that we got to check out. I think that was our first one, wasn't it? Or maybe it was our second one. But anyway, the fact is, partial to Benfica as well, and being able to see them get that moment, especially with Jose Mourinho at the helm. They might not go anywhere after this, but either way, there's always a magic moment when Jose Mourinho is on the touchline. Okay, I think we've said enough about this. Let's talk about the table before we move on, though. So the final 8, or the top 8, we'll discuss first. Number 1, Arsenal. 2, Bayern. 3, Liverpool. 4, Spurs. Let's go. 5, Barcelona. 6 is Chelsea. 7 is Sporting. And Man City rounds out your 8. Of course, all the mainstays are going to be in the knockout or the playoff round, which is Real Madrid, Inter, PSG, Newcastle, Atletico, Juve. Like all the big clubs are there. The surprise teams that are in there, though, Galatasaray, Club Brugge, Karabag, Bodo Glimt, and Benfica. That's crazy. I mean, also Karabag getting their ass whooped 6-0 and still making it. I'm looking at their final 5 games. They lost 3, drew 1, and then won 1, and they still get into the knockout round. So that's the crazy stuff there. Going to be cool to see how these play off in the playoff rounds, however you want to call that. Surprising teams that did make it, though. I don't know if a lot of people would call Villarreal and Eintracht Frankfurt surprising because they have been bad in domestic leagues recently. Obviously, Villarreal was doing really good. But the teams that are more surprising than that, Marseille and Napoli not going through. Crazy stuff. The Italian champions are not in the at least even the playoff round of the Champions League. Not a good look for Serie A. I was reading that it could really affect the bonus, whatever you want to call them, bonus teams that can get in. You know, there's always like that coefficient thing. So there's a reason why the Premier League gets 5 teams in there, because the better you do in all of the European leagues, like the Conference League, Europa League, and the Champions League, the more spots they're going to give to your league. And with Italy's top team getting knocked out, it's just not a good look, because I'm looking now who's in the next round that's in Serie A. We have 3: Atalanta, Juve, Inter. I think that's it. Which 3 of 24 is not bad. I mean, the only team that was in Serie A that got knocked out that could have been there was Napoli. So yeah, I get, it is what it is, but either way, not a good look. Vic, any surprises? Any things you want to bring up in the Champions League?
No, our boy Slavia Praha, bro. They didn't get any wins. They only got 3 points, man. They got thrashed, man.
That's not good. 3 draws though.
Yeah, only got 3.
It's not bad. It's pretty crazy seeing. We said it last time, but it's pretty crazy seeing like Barcelona play at that stadium. Like that would be really cool to just be like, "Hey, Barcelona's about to be here." Yeah, that's cool stuff. That's what it's all about. That's what those European nights are about. Okay, it is time to move on. Look, we're already 17 minutes in. Let's go now to the leagues, to our look ahead. I'm scrambling to find my notes. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's go to Italy.
Let's do it to Serie A.
You can imagine during the Champions League windows, match days, whatever you want to call them, the news coming out of it is all about the teams that were in the Champions League, kind of the games and different things like that. So not a ton of news around Europe other than the news that we just talked about in the Champions League. But in Serie A, there is a couple of pieces of information. Outside of the Italian champions being knocked out of the league phase in the Champions League, there was not too much else except for in that game, a Chelsea fan, not in the game, but a Chelsea fan was stabbed in the leg with a screwdriver, according to reports coming out of Naples. So there was that pretty crazy stuff. I was looking at news for the Serie A. That was the biggest thing that came out of there. And other news, Roma has. Let me get my thoughts right here. Roma fear that Dybala has had another serious injury after he felt some discomfort in his knee in training ahead of their final Europa League game. They'll have to get further tests completed to know the full extent, but Roma will be holding their breath as the team is just starting to hit their stride once again. And it's feared that he could have some crucial. How do you say it? The crucial ligament. Anterior crucial ligament. Yeah.
Austin City limits. Something like that.
Yeah. That's why we call it ACLs around here. Okay. But either way, hopefully Dybala is not hurt. That would suck for them. And that is it for the news and notes around Serie A, Vic.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get in the match day. And we, of course, will start with your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matches and headlines for Serie A, match day 23. And our first matchup is number 4, Napoli, taking on the relegation threatened number 18, Fiorentina. And somehow, Fiorentina is the better form the last 5 match days.
No one wants to go out of the Champions League in the league phase, especially not a big team like Napoli. But with all the injuries they have, less fixtures might be exactly what they need to get healthy. But that won't help them this week as they are right back at it again against a resurgent ? Maybe they're resurgent Fiorentina. I say it that way because we're building up a little unbeaten streak, and I say we because that's our team there. But they were building up an unbeaten streak and getting wins here and there. And just when they were getting out of the bottom three, they go and lose to Cagliari, who their own right have been decent lately. And this loss was in Florence too, mind you. So seeing Napoli away on the schedule is never fun, but this Napoli side are beat up and have dropped points to lesser teams than Fiorentina, but is getting anything more than a point too much to ask for this Fiorentina side that are still not fully back with their confidence. We'll see. This one's going to be super interesting, Vic.
And your second match has European competition implications as number 6 Como welcome number 7 Atalanta. And that means...
Yeah, they are table neighbors, and it's a table neighbor battle. But Como are 5 points ahead at the moment and cruising, winning their last two matches by the combined score of 9-0. They're not just winning, they are blowing teams out. And Atlanta, for all the changes they've had gone through this season, they don't really get blown out. Technically, over the last 5 games, Atalanta have been in the better form in Serie A. Como need to continue to prove that they can take points from the bigger teams in the league, and Atalanta could jumpstart their Champions League charge with the win over their table neighbor. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. This one's going to be a lot of fun.
And those are your top matches and headlines for Serie A Match Day 23. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the match day. And we start on Friday. And it's a mid-table matchup as Genoa go on the road to our old stomping grounds and take on Lazio.
Genoa come to Stadio Olimpico in form to take on our struggling Lazio. And I'm not sure if De Rossi's boys have turned a corner or what, but Lazio, for as inconsistent as they are, they tend to be okay against the lower table sides. If Genoa can get 3 points here, they might be the real deal. And it would be pretty cool to see, honestly, because they haven't been great lately.
We then move on to Saturday as Sassuolo get a good shot to make it 2 wins in a row as they head to number 19, Pisa.
It's back-to-back games against the newly promoted sides for Sassuolo, who are a newly promoted side themselves. They took care of Cremonese last week, and if they do the same to Pisa, it would be back-to-back wins and feel like those 3 straight losses never happened.
Our next matchup was one of your No Business Soccer podcast top matchups of the weekend. That was our boys in purple headed to Napoli. We went over that. So let's move on to the conclusion of Saturday as bottom of the league Verona take on the surging Cagliari.
And my notes moved. In the past couple of weeks, Cagliari has left the relegation scrap in their dust with a big-time win, or with big-time wins over Juve and Fiorentina. Now they have a much easier task taking the second bottom team, Verona. If Cagliari can make it 3 wins in a row here, watch out. They could be, I don't want to say that they'd be mid-table challengers, maybe not that, but either way, seeing them outside of the relegation scrap this early on, especially with 3 straight wins, be pretty freaking cool. How about that?
And I guess you're right. It is second bottom, also bottom. It's the whole tiebreaker 19th.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If it's not the same thing on his thing, it's fine.
Yeah.
Bottom, second bottom, whatever.
Yeah, this is a weird tiebreaker. We then move on to Sunday as Lecce, who sport a league low 13 goals, hoping to add to that tally as they take on the worst defense in the league, Torino.
This is for sure a 6-pointer. Both teams in horrible form, combining for 8 losses in their last 10 games. Neither team looks like they're going to be on a run anytime soon and getting out of the relegation zone. So getting 3 points in this one is vital.
And next up was your other No Business Soccer podcast top matchup of the weekend. That was Como and Atalanta. We already talked about that. So we'll move on to Cremonese, looking for their first win since December 7th. But it might be longer as they welcome the current number 1s, Inter.
Inter picked it up in the Champions League, finally getting a win, and they are cruising through Serie A with a 5-point gap at the top of the table. I don't see any reason to believe a Cremonese side and Vardy are going to be able to take anything from them, but, well, no, I don't see anything. I would say, but anything can happen, but I don't feel like that is true in this one.
And we bring Sunday to a close with Juve continuing to recover from the recent slip up and hoping to join the Champions League competition consideration places once more as they take on number 15 Parma.
Juve looks to have proved that the loss to Cagliari was a blip on the radar as they bounce back with the big win over Napoli last weekend. I think they can get 3 points on the road against a struggling Parma side and really, really start to cement themselves for a European spot.
We then move on to Monday Night Football, and it'll be an interesting one as Udinese look to crack the best defense in the league and send the visiting Roma home with an L.
Roma with Daniel Malin in attack look much more dangerous going forward. And although Udinese aren't pushovers at home, I think Roma continue their hot streak in the battle for Champions League football next season. We just need to find out what's going on with Dybala, as we brought up earlier.
And your match day 23 ends with the super limited edition Tuesday Night Football. And it'll be Milan, who haven't lost since week 1 to Cremonese of all teams, taking on the home side of Bologna, looking to bounce back from 2 straight losses.
Yeah, I'm very curious why they decided, like, you know what? Let's just stretch this thing out to Tuesday. Why?
No idea.
No idea. All right, whatever. I mean, that's cool. You know, we get a fun one. I would have loved to put this one at one of the matches of the week or matches to watch, but Bologna have been absolutely terrible lately in the Serie A. I guess they just got to win in Europa League, and they're coming in off the back of Europa League action, which despite the 3-0 win, it's still an extra game that they have to play, meaning they're going to be a little bit more tired. Obviously, Milan's in the same boat, but Milan's been there, done that. It could be in for a good bounce back game after a draw with Roma last time out. I'm feeling like Milan could get it done here.
And those are your matchups for Serie A match day 23. Let's go ahead and take a look, get a refresher of the table. And on top are still your number ones, Inter. I think we have it up, or I can just read it to you. On top is going to be the Milans. Of course, Inter, number 1. They have 52 points. 5 points behind them is, there we go, AC Milan. They have 47 points in the number 2 spot. Roma are the number 3 spot with 43 points, followed by Napoli with 43 points as well, of course, behind Roma on goal differential. And then tickling our top 4 is Juve. They have 42 points, just 1 point out of those Champions League spots like we spoke about a little while ago, hoping to get a win and get their head back up in there. And then we look at the bottom of the table and you'll see our boys in purple. They'd be the first team eliminated if the season ended, or relegated if the season ended today. They're in the 18th spot with 17 points. Fiorentina are. They are followed by the newly promoted Pisa, who have 14 points in the 19th spot. And then Hellas Verona also with 14 points, tied with them in the 19th spot or the 20th spot or solely in the 19th spot, whatever the hell you want to say. They are tied with Pisa, 14 points with goal differential, goals for, points, all that kind of stuff. But everything. Those are your teams. Yeah, everything. But that is your table. Going to be an interesting one coming up. When do Pisa and Verona, when do they play again? That's a good question. Let me see if I can find out real quick.
Like who cements themselves at the bottom of the table?
Yeah, who
the bottom of the table off?
Yeah.
Who wants it less? Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Bro. Oh, Friday. Next week.
Next week. There you go.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Let's see what happens.
Hey,
they play February 6th
for next Friday.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. All right.
Well, that is it. No, that's it. That is it for Serie A. Not a ton there. Some fun ones this weekend. Let's move on over to Germany.
Let's do it. Do to Bundesliga. Need to lock in. I told y'all this is 66% alcohol.
That's a strong stuff.
Really yeah. And I finished one pretty early, so I'm already like 1 deep.
Okay, well, we don't have much news and notes for the Bundesliga, but as I stall for my boy to take that sip and then jump into the match day,
we're good to go.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, let's do it right now. Let's do it. We'll go ahead and jump into Bundesliga. Match day 20. And of course, we'll start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines. And your top match of the weekend is 2 teams, just 2 spots, yet 9 points apart in the table. It's Stuttgart looking to pop its head into the Champions League places as they get the visiting Freiburg.
It's a big battle between two teams that have European aspirations heading into next season, and both sides are through to the next rounds of the Europa League. Now coming into Stuttgart have definitely been the better side, but the Black Forest boys, as I call them, have only lost once in the last 5 games, and that was the Leipzig. In the reverse fixture all the way back in September, that match was in Freiburg. It ended 3-1 to the Black Forest boys, and I would be shocked if the score looks like that at the end of this game this time around. We are partial to Stuttgart around here, as you know, but this one is not going to be easy for them. It should be good, and I know I'll be tuning in Sunday to check this one out because, a lot of fun stuff, a lot of storylines around this one. But I think the coolest thing is to see the two teams that are kind of hanging tough in the Europa League for the Bundesliga going head-to-head. It's going to be fun.
Yes, sir. A lot of storylines in that matchup. That's why it is your lone top matchup of Bundesliga Matchday 20. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the matchday. And it starts off in the cutest way imaginable with our little goat mascot, Cole, looking to bounce back against the visiting Wolfsburg.
Köln. I need to find a way to put my notes don't have the umlaut. Is that what it's called? I think it's called umlaut. I'm pretty sure. I said that so confidently that it has to be because it just came out. But anyway, Köln have slowly started to trickle down the table with just 1 win in the last 5 Bundesliga games. And while Wolfsburg boasts the same amount of wins in that time frame, they've lost to Mainz and drawn with Double H Heidenheim, who are both at the bottom of the table. Köln have a good chance to get 3 points here and get themselves back on track. Oh, you like that?
Not bad. We then move to Saturday as Leverkusen go on the road and look to extend Eintracht Frankfurt's 5-game winless streak to 6.
Man, this would have been a fun one a couple months ago, but now we have a Leverkusen side who are still finding themselves and an Eintracht Frankfurt side who just shook up. I mean, they just took that Etch-a-Sketch and just shook the shit out of it. And they're still trying to figure things out for themselves as well. I expect Leverkusen to get the win here because Frankfurt have just been so bad lately, but we'll have to find out. Leverkusen did get that win in the Champions League. Maybe they start to feel themselves a little bit more, but man, Eintracht is just in a bad place right now.
And our next matchup is a battle of the Diamond Shields as Werder Bremen welcome Borussia Mönchengladbach.
I never thought of it that way, but you're right.
I move the shield all the time, so I notice it all the
time. There's only 1 win combined in their last 10 games for these two teams. Both need a win to stay relevant. Neither have looked very good. Hopefully, they at least make it fun to watch for us because on the surface, it's not going to be fun.
And our next match is Union Berlin looking to shake off that last L as they go on the road to take on your Can It Be number 3s, Hoffenheim.
Hoffenheim come in as the most informed team in the Bundesliga after Bayern's loss last weekend, and Union they've made a skill out of not losing games. Of course, this was before falling to Dortmund last weekend. If the Hoff are really going to get in the Champions League, which they're looking more and more likely, this is one that should be a win for them, especially at home.
And next up is a lower table matchup as St. Pauli look to continue their 2-game unbeaten streak and crawl out of the relegation zone against number 13 Augsburg, who are fresh off their biggest win in over a decade.
Augsburg are the talk of Germany after that big upset over Bayern. But St. Pauli came back to score a stoppage time penalty to draw with Leipzig. We didn't even talk about it. There was a couple of matches that were redone from the I think it was the second week or maybe the first week that they came back from the winter break. But yeah, St. Pauli came back against Leipzig to draw with them. And the gap between the two, being St. Pauli and Augsburg, is 5 points. So if Augsburg can get 3 points here, it'll go a long way to ensuring they stay up. And Vic, just a side note, as I'm preparing for the leagues and, making sure I'm not missing any big news and notes to share with our audience, whatever you want to call it. The only news out there was just people just ripping on Bayern and like, how could they lose this match? And just, it was all news and notes about that. I'm like, dude, it's one game. Come on, leave it alone. But apparently it is a massive deal in especially the Bavarian area of Germany.
Yeah, I do agree. It was a fun time, but we will go ahead and move on as Saturday continues with number 4 Leipzig looking to continue their run of form as they welcome another team who looks to have turned the corner on the season, Mainz.
As we just mentioned, Leipzig had those 3 points in the bag before a stoppage time penalty means they drop points again. Mainz are riding high after beating Wolfsburg last time out, and I'm going to stop calling that they'll be building momentum and using this to springboard themselves up the table, because it just never works out that way when I say it. So let's just see what happens here. I will say that Leipzig, they are ripe for the taking after that draw with St. Pauli, even though it was a penalty, and all of those are kind of fluky. Either way, Mainz, let's just do it. Just get it done.
And we end our Saturday with Hamburg in the danger zone, as, like we said, all of the clowning of the visiting Bayern might have just pissed them off.
Highway to... It's just like stuck in my head now. It's back-to-back 0-0s for Hamburg as they slowly start to drift to the foot of the table. And unfortunately for them, Bayern, exactly like Vic said, will come down and they will have a point to prove. They will be pissed off. And it's probably going to end bad for them, even though Hamburg do have one of the better defenses in the league. But man, I just, if Bayern, no, I'm not going to say. I was going to make something stupid, like I'll chop my hair off or something stupid, but no, I'm not, because I didn't think that they would lose to Augsburg. So
Godspeed, Hamburg. We'll see.
Yeah.
We then move to Sunday, and your first match was your No Business Soccer Podcast top matchup of the weekend. That was Stuttgart and Freiburg. Of course, we already talked about that. So we go to the conclusion of match day 20, and that is the best of the rest. Borussia Dortmund going to visit bottom of the table, Heidenheim.
It's bottom team against second in the table in prime time, baby. Not sure what that's about. Maybe there's something that I'm missing, a reason or a justification for having this in a prime time spot. But yeah, Dortmund should get a win pretty easily. How about that?
I like it. And that concludes your Bundesliga match day 20 matchups. Let's go ahead and take a refresher of the table. We don't need a refresher on the top. Of course, still Bayern Munich, still your number ones, far and away with it. They're 8 points clear. With 50 points fresh off their loss. They have an 8-point lead on Borussia Dortmund, who are in the number 2 spot. They have 42 points. 3 points behind Borussia Dortmund are your Can It Be number 3 is Hoffenheim. Still a great story on the season. They have 39 points. And then followed behind them is RB Leipzig with 36 points, and they round out our top 4. And then tickling our top 4 also with 36 points is VfB Stuttgart. They are in the 5th spot, of course, on goal differential. And then we take a look at the bottom of the table, and you will see Mainz in the 16th spot. They are in the playoff relegation game. They are just ahead of St. Pauli in the number 17 spot. St. Pauli have 14 points. Mainz have 15 points, if I didn't bring that up. And you're not reading. For some reason, you're just listening. And at the bottom of the table, a solid foundation for Bundesliga is Heidenheim with 13 measly points. No wins in the last 6, at least. Get it together, my guys. Get it together.
Yeah,
actually, don't get it together. I like St. Pauli and mine, so never mind. Don't get it together.
Double H, just go down already. That's what Vic's saying. Just go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have nothing else for the Bundesliga, so let's move right ahead. Let's go to Spain.
Let's do it to La Liga.
Got a little transfer rumor news and notes for La Liga, and it's something that is pretty cool for all of us, but specifically for myself. Okay, it's a little selfish here, but Alex Freeman, Orlando City and U.S. men's national team right back, is heading to Villarreal. By all accounts, nothing's been official yet, but there's a lot of speculation that he's going. He could have stayed for a bigger contract in the MLS, but he chose to make the move to Europe. And side note, the reason why I say it's a big deal for me, he is the son of Packers Hall of Famer and Super Bowl winner Antonio Freeman. So Alex Freeman, he's an athlete. He didn't take after his father for playing the same sport, but just taking after him of being, one of the best in the world, playing for one of the best teams in the world, like winning Super Bowls, things like that. Just what the Packers do. So
don't say Super Bowls.
Fair enough. That's just singular. But yeah, Alex Freeman, I didn't know that was Antonio's son. That's really cool stuff there. But the fact that we can have a U.S. men's national team right back, I don't know if he's starting, but at least one of our right backs heading to La Liga, that'd be pretty cool stuff. We'll see if it works out for him. And hopefully it does. We'll see a lot more of him being in Villarreal. Okay, let's do it, Vic.
All right, let's go ahead and dive into La Liga Matchday 22. And of course, we're going to start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for La Liga Matchday 22. And your top match of the weekend is the Basque Derby. And this time it is tinted in red, white, and blue as Real Sociedad take on Athletic Club.
That's right. It's the Basque Derby, and this time we are in Bilbao. If you recall, the reverse fixture was played in San Sebastian at the beginning of November, and we got a great game that ended with Real Sociedad getting a 3-2 win with a stoppage time goal. At that point, both teams were struggling big time, and since then, Real Sociedad have surged up the table with Rino Matarazzo at the helm, but nothing's really changed for Athletic Club. After the first Basque Derby, Athletic Club have played 11 matches and had 14 points. So that was after the first one. Since then, they've lost 6 of the last 10 matches since that game. Everything on paper is setting this up to be a big win for La Real against their rivals in Bilbao, but derbies aren't that straightforward. Now, it's a different type of game, an atmosphere for Matarazzo. He'll be expected to get the win in San Mamés, which is not something that is usually the case in these type of matches, but he's not surprising anyone anymore. He's not going to be coming in unknown like he did against Atleti and Barca. These are usually juicy matchups, but with the added stakes and the storylines of just how these teams are kind of passing in the night, different ships, it just makes this one even juicier. And you're probably already going to watch this one, but now even more reason to tune in.
And that is your top matchup for La Liga Matchday 22. Let's get into the rest of the match. And of course, it starts on Friday as Alaves, fresh off a win, look to add more points as they head to Espanyol.
Espanyol have really fallen off after that emotional loss to Barcelona. In fact, they had 5 matches prior to that game against Barca, and now they've lost 3 and drawn once in their last 4 since. Alaves got the better of Betis last weekend, but had been in pretty bad form prior to that win. Can Espanyol get back on track here, or will Alaves continue to build some momentum? We will find out, but it is crazy. It feels like Espanyol, after that loss to Barca, all of the momentum just kind of got sucked out of their souls. Is that weird way to put that? You know what I mean? They were doing so well before that, and then after that, they just lose, draw. I mean, it is just not looking good for them. But hopefully they can get a win against Alaves. Unless you're Alaves, then hopefully not.
Sucked them dry. We then move to Saturday. And if you like defense, look away as the 2 teams with the most goals against take the field. It's Oviedo welcoming Girona.
Girona were unable to get a win over Getafe and make it 4 straight wins, but they still shot up the table in recent weeks and have a great chance to bounce back from that draw with the bottom of the table Oviedo on the schedule. And man, if they don't get the win here, then I would say, man, all those 3 straight wins were a fluke. I'm just kidding. I won't do that. But I famously said they were going to get relegated after August. Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll see if they lose this one. I'll definitely, I won't be backing off my claims anytime soon.
Shave your head. Right. So Saturday continues with 2 teams headed in completely opposite directions. It's Villarreal headed to Osasuna.
Just on that point, I don't know if I could shave my head because I don't know if it'll grow back at this point. Like, I'm so terrified. I mean, it looks good on camera now, but I'm like, damn, what happens if I'm old and like just like, hey, we're done, bro. Like, that was your last run with hair. We're not coming back. That was really.
It's funny you say that. I got out of the shower the other day and like my hair was just poking up because like my hair is just straight up Mexican hair.
Hedgehog.
And like I forgot, I was like looking down, but I like looked up in the mirror and it's so thin. Like I could see so much of my scalp. I was like, oh my God, no, please. Dude, no.
I'm telling you. I'm like, I'm terrified. And like if I shave my head and like what happens if I have like an ugly ass, big ass head, like it's just nasty looking. I don't know. It's just scaring me. I'm not ready to take that leap. I think, hey, you know what? I might have to go check out some Turkish football for a month, if you know what I'm talking about. Come back with a thick old hair, big old fro, baby.
Salah did that, right? Didn't Salah?
Salah, the coach, Jurgen Klopp.
Klopp did that. Yeah.
They all
took a trip.
What's the dude? What's the
Landon Donovan?
Yes,
Landon Donovan.
Yes. I mean, dude, we gotta take a trip to Turkey Turkey.
I don't know what
Sorry,
they're doing in
apologies.
Turkey, man. But yeah, Turkey. Yeah, right.
We're gonna have to go take a trip down there. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, where are we? Osasuna, Villarreal. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. Okay. Osasuna have some momentum coming into this match, and Villarreal also have momentum, but it's the negative kind. I guess, is that a thing? I don't know, but they've lost back-to-back games in La Liga. They were terrible in the Champions League, and they are free falling. Osasuna could get it done here, and they definitely need this one.
And next up is number 3, Athletic, working to close the gap on the top 2 as they take on the lowly Levante.
Atleti are cruising at the moment, and a stop at second bottom Levante doesn't appear to be something that will stop them. I will say out of the bottom 3, Levante have the best form recently, but Atleti should be able to pretty much take care of them and handle them without worries. But you know how that goes whenever it's Atleti.
And Saturday ends with the story of the season so far. Elche looking to stop the bleeding, but it's a tall task against the current number 1s, Barcelona.
That's exactly right. We've talked about it a couple of times already, but Elche are just not getting the results they were earlier this season and are tumbling down the table. But their matchup against Barca and that high line should be extremely fun to watch. I just expect Barca to come out and win this one easily, but it should be fun regardless. I couldn't put it as a top match to watch in good faith because I do expect Barcelona to win by a couple of goals. But man, Elche are a fun team to watch. Barcelona are fun to watch. I mean, should be a good game.
We then move to Sunday, and we start with Real Madrid looking to make the leap to first, and they get a generous matchup to do so as they welcome Rayo Vallecano.
It's 7 straight La Liga wins for Real Madrid, and now they get Rayo coming to the Bernabeu after off back-to-back defeats. They just might make it 8 wins in a row and continue to put the pressure on Barca. Their showing against Benfica in the Champions League was concerning a bit. But it wasn't necessarily all of their best foot forward, if you put it that way. And this is a Madrid derby, but I just can't see Real coming away with anything here. I think Real Madrid get it done easily.
Next up, we have Real Betis trying to stay in European competition conversations as they take on the winners of 2 straight, Valencia.
It's a struggle off between 2 sides that have been disappointing lately. More so for Betis, though, because Valencia, like you mentioned, they've back-to-back wins over Getafe and Espanyol, but they're still dangerously close to the drop zone. So when I say disappointing, I just mean that their performance over the whole season has been disappointing. Betis aren't hitting the heights they did last season either, and you got to find a way to get some momentum on either side if you're Valencia or if you're Betis. This one's going to be fun to see how it plays out. I'm not necessarily saying it's fun for the teams involved, but just for the result itself, just whichever way this one goes, it can be a big catalyst to help them go up the table again.
And our next match is Celta Vigo looking to make the last match day just a hiccup as they head to Getafe.
Celta couldn't handle the pressure of playing the surging Real Sociedad, but they should be able to get back on track against the Getafe side, who look like they might be one of the teams going out at the end of the season. And Celta, for all the off-the-field stuff that we talked about with Borja Iglesias and everything, it's kind of like a team you want to get behind, and I don't feel like Getafe are a team that can stop that this time around.
And Sunday ends with your No Business Soccer Podcast top matchup of the week. That was Athletic Club and Real Sociedad. We already talked about it, of course. So we move on to Monday Night Football, and it's a lower table clash as Mallorca look to get out of the relegation zone as they welcome Sevilla.
Mallorca now find themselves fighting to stay up, but the table is so congested in La Liga that a win over Sevilla here could put them as high as 12th or 13th. I said that back, 13th or 12th. I should have done it that way. Either way, or 13th, like it's a bigger deal. Whatever. Sevilla getting the win over Athletic Club was huge, and they see themselves almost mid-table at this point. Granted, we just talked about it. The congestion is so crazy that it just anywhere between, we'll see the table here in just a moment, but I believe it's like 12 to 17 or 18 is just like a few points apart. It's crazy, but this is a massive game for both sides because, that relegation battle has at least 7-8 teams in it, Vic.
Yes, sir. And those are your matchups for La Liga Matchday 22. Let's go ahead and take a look at that table. First, we're going to start on the top. Of course, Barcelona are your league leaders. They have 52 points in the number 1 spot. They are followed just by 1 point That's not the right way to say that at all. They are followed by Real Madrid by 1 point. They have 51 points in the number 2 spot. They are followed by Real Madrid. No, Jesus Christ, I am drunk. No, I'm just kidding. They in the number 3 spot is Atletico Madrid. They have 44 points. They are a clear 7 points behind Real Madrid in the number 2 spot. But rounding out our top 4 is Villarreal, who, despite their 2 losses in a row, still hold our 4th spot because there is a giant gap. They have 41 points. Behind them, there's a giant gap of 7 points for Espanyol, who are tickling our top 4 in the number 5 spot. Don't make that noise when I say that. And we go to the bottom of the table as Mallorca would be the first team relegated if the season ended today. They're in the 18th spot with 21 points, followed by Levante, the newly promoted, soon to be hopefully not relegated, with 17 points. I really do like their shield. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, another promoted team who is relegation threatened, Real Oviedo, with 13 measly points, a solid foundation for La Liga. And then you were talking about the midpoint of the table there. I don't know how far you want to go, but Osasuna, 25 points. Relegation threatened Mallorca, 21 points.
That's what I was
4 points across. Yeah. And that's from 9 to 18. Insane.
Crazy.
4 points. Yeah.
I mean, just this match day, we can see that completely flip upside down. In the next 2, I'd be curious to see how many of these teams stay where they are. That's crazy.
Yeah, we'll keep this snapshot.
We'll keep that. Yeah,
in a couple of weeks. Yeah,
because I'm curious to see just in 2 weeks how different it's going to be.
Yeah, crazy.
Not so much at the top though, because the top is getting that unlocked. Yeah, they got that unlocked. Okay, I think that is it for La Liga. Let's wrap this show up by going over to jolly old England.
Let's do it to the Prem.
And I'm wearing my my apropos suit for this segment. Went over to London, got myself a track suit top. Adidas. I feel like a British rapper, you know. Have you seen that? Who makes fun of him? I don't know who that guy is.
I forgot.
You know what I'm talking about? Reese.
Yeah.
Aries something or another. You know, he's like, I mean, that's what I feel like, you know. I feel like a G,
he also,
like in Great Britain, G.
He also look like a goon in the mafia, like someone who doesn't get like a name or anything in the movie. They're just like an extra.
I don't like that. I don't like that as much, you know. Maybe like
let us know in the comments which one you like more. Does it look like a goon or a British rapper?
I know myself. Okay, I don't need anybody else's opinion on it. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, let us know because I'm curious. I feel like I'm giving some, you know, UK rapper vibes, some grime vibes. Grime. That's the type of music they have over there. Okay, you uncultured swine.
Crime is what the mafia does. That's what you look like.
Crime. Crimes and grime, baby. That's my style. Look at that. I need to move over there just to have a hip hop career. Just get that restarted real quick. All right, we're way off track now. Let's do it. Let's jump into the match day.
Let's go to Premier League Match Day 24. And of course, we will start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for Premier League Match Day 24. And your top matches won to heat up the European competition conversations as number 7 Fulham look to stop the momentum that is Manchester United.
And look, I know there's probably going to be some questions like there's definitely games that should be on the top matches and headlines in other seasons, but not this season. And we'll talk about all that here in a moment. But talking about Manchester United and Fulham, and the reason why it's up here, this is the match to watch to me that stands out the most because Fulham are right outside the European places and only 2 points behind Liverpool in 6th. They've been pretty good throughout the whole season. Maybe wins have been a little hard to come by recently, but they're still in great shape at the moment and have a great chance to stop United's momentum and continue their unlikely challenge for Europe. But Manchester United is the talk of the Prem the last couple of weeks. Now, some would say that Carrick and his United side could play carefree, no pressure football since the expectations would have been low against City and Arsenal in back-to-back weeks, especially he's coming in for, you know, just on a whim, as you might call it. But they won both of those games. And the reason this matchup is so intriguing now is because Now United, they're at home, they're against Fulham, they'll be expected to win. And how do they perform when the pressure and the expectation of winning is now on them? They are the favorites in this one. It's a different challenge for this United side, and I think recently they've slipped up in this type of game. So very interested to see how Fulham does here too, because they're no pushovers.
Yes, sir. That is your top matchup and headline for Premier League Match Day 24. We will go ahead and get into the rest of the match day, and it all begins on Saturday as the league leaders Arsenal look to get back on track, and they get a hopeful layup as they head to the newly promoted Leeds United. There's no way they lose this, right?
You're trying so hard to give them some type of juju. I mean, yes. Me too. Like, please go. I'd love to believe that Leeds can get one over on Arsenal, and maybe the game being played at Ellen Road is a big boost to those odds. But Arsenal losing to United last weekend means they're coming in ready to go. Their defense has gotten more and more shaky, which came true with their 3-2 win over Kairat in the Champions League. But still, I'm not sure that Leeds can do the job here, but we'll all be hoping that they do.
And then Saturday continues with the lower table matchup as lowest of the table. Wolverhampton Wanderers welcome number 13, Bournemouth.
Poor Wolves couldn't keep the good vibes rolling against City. And yes, the Cherries have been very good at times this season, but they haven't been great recently until, of course, their last second winner against Liverpool. Maybe that gets them going again and they fight their way back up the table, but Wolves have a good chance to get at least a point here.
And next up, we have the mid-table scrap in Brighton looking to take advantage of home field as they welcome Everton.
Two mid-table teams trying to inch their way up the table. I think Everton at this point are okay with where they are, which is not having to worry about anything relegation. How do you put that? Not having to worry about anything around relegation. How about that? But Hurstler and Brighton did have higher expectations at the beginning of the season. They were expecting to get into Europe, and now they need these 3 points to start making that journey a possibility again.
And our next matchup is two teams both riding a 2-win streak, but something has to give as it's Chelsea welcoming West Ham.
West Ham looked like they were dead and buried in the relegation battle, but back-to-back wins has them just 5 points behind Forest in 17th. And it's unfortunate that they get Chelsea right now because Liam Rossigne. You know how like you can say it in French like Rossigne or Rossigne.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, but either way, that guy, Liam, he has them playing much, much better.
And Saturday ends with two teams looking to get back to their winning ways as Newcastle United head to Anfield to play Liverpool.
Any other time, this would have been a top match to watch. But Liverpool have been in pretty terrible form lately, and Newcastle seem to have tailed off again in the Prem. I say again because they weren't that great, then they were doing better, and now they're back to not that great. Liverpool put a beating on Karabag in the Champions League, while Newcastle went toe-to-toe with the European champions PSG and forced a draw. But can either side translate those results to the Prem? I guess we'll find out.
We then move to Sunday, and it's two teams that have the same amount of goals for, yet 13 points separate them on the table. It's number 3, Aston Villa, welcoming number 8, Brentford.
Brentford have come back down to earth after back-to-back defeats, and although Villa haven't been as clinical as they were a month ago, they're still right in the thick of the title race. It'll be tough for Brentford to get a point here.
And our next match of Sunday was your No Business Soccer podcast top match of the week. That was Man U versus Fulham. We already talked about that, so we'll go on to the rising Nottingham Forest, welcoming a Crystal Palace side still searching for its first win since December 7th.
Forest appear to be on the up and up, and Palace look to be, I guess that would be the down and down, Vic? Is that the opposite of that? But both teams are on the wrong end of the table, and there's still that leftover spice in this one from Forest taking Palace's spot in the Europa League. Could this one be spicy, though? Possibly.
And then Sunday continues. Sorry, that was high-proof alcohol right there. Sunday continues with your most surefire sign of growth here on the No Business Soccer podcast, as I would have put up more than $100 of my own money betting that Snooze would somehow make this a top match of the week for some reason, but it was not. Thus, we have progress. And our next match is two teams looking to right the wrongs of the past month and a half of play as Manchester City head to Tottenham.
I would love to make this one of the top matches to watch. Usually, this is a pretty damn good match. Both teams go toe to toe. There's usually a lot of goals, a lot of fun. Top match to watch. But at this point, I can't in good faith ask anybody to sit down and watch Spurs play. I wouldn't pay someone to watch a Spurs match, even if it's against the great Manchester City. In a nutshell, City are in the title race after last week's slip up by the Gunners, and Spurs have lost to West Ham and drawn with Burnley in consecutive weeks. This is match one of a very rough February, as we talked about last week for Spurs. Actually, it was Monday. Golly, this week is flying by. Anyway, we talked about it on Monday. It's a rough February for Spurs, and I haven't seen anything to show me that they can get a win over City. Yes, they got the win over Eintracht Frankfurt, but I think Manchester City are just a different level. Spurs have had a lot of success against Manchester City even earlier this season, but man, it is very hard to see anything other than a City win here.
And match day 24 ends with Football del Lunes por la Noche as number 11 Sunderland take on the lowly number 19 Burnley. And oddly enough, Burnley has scored more goals this year than Sunderland.
Sunderland playing at the Stadium of Light is a tough out for anyone. Burnley look to be on their way down. And so if the Black Cats can do a little more to help them on their way, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to do so. If they win here, they would be 20 plus points above Burnley, and it almost guarantees that they'll stay up at least one more season in the Prem. Now that I put that there, is it really? Let's go to the table because I'm very curious. I put that note there and I'm like, is that a typo?
Which one is it?
Is Sunderland really that far ahead of Burnley?
They are pretty far ahead. They are, Burnley has 15. They're 18 points ahead. But yeah,
okay, so that's why I put it. Yeah, so if they win, it would be a 20 plus points. Crazy.
Yeah, and okay. Burnley have scored more than
Sunderland. A lot of 1-0s, baby. That's all you need. Hey, a 1-0 that'll do it.
Okay. But while we have the table up, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Yeah. As Arsenal are still your league leaders, although that lead is dwindling. They have 50 points in the number one spot. They're followed by Manchester City and Aston Villa, who both have 46 points apiece. Of course, Aston Villa in the number 3 spot on goal differential. And then rounding out our top 4, welcome Manchester United back to the Champions League spots. They have 38 points. And then followed by Chelsea. What's that? How do you say that? Followed by... Tickling the top 4. Yeah, we'll just do that. Tickling the top 4 is Chelsea with 37 points, just 1 point behind them. And in that Europa League spot. And then we take a look at the bottom of the table. You'll see West Ham United. They have 20 points in the 18th spot. They would be the first team relegated. If the season ended today, they are 5 points clear of number 17 Nottingham Forest. So it's going to take at least 2 match days for them to get out of there. Burnley are 5 points behind West Ham as well, which is going to be even worse for them. They're in the 19th spot with 15 points. And then our lowly Wolverhampton Wanderers with 8 measly points, still trying to break double digits. They are a solid foundation for the Premier League in the last 20th spot. And I'm sure they're hoping for something, because I was also looking. We're 23 match days in. They have 15 goals for. And that's less than, you're going to at least 8 games where they don't score. Can you imagine that? Like, if we had to go like 8 games.
It just wasn't. I know
they're not going to. Crazy.
Yeah, you're like, this is stupid. I'm not even going to. 17 losses. Golly, that's crazy. I mean,
insane.
What's crazy to me is that like West Ham have 13 losses, and they're only 8 points behind Spurs, who have 9 losses. 9 is still a lot, but it just feels like if they have that many more losses, why are we only 8 points ahead of that? It's so dumb. It's not a fun season, but
it's not. You're right.
That is it for the pod. DJ, play our music. Let's see if he's got that. But Vic, take us home. Oh,
hey, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
Boys,
everyone, thank you for spending time with us and talking about some European football. Be sure to like and subscribe on every platform that we have. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for TikTok, except for Twitter. That is at No Biz Sock Pod. Everyone, enjoy the football this weekend. Cheers, and we will talk to you all very soon.
Peace.
Peace.